A major winter storm is on the way, and it's going to bring significant impacts to a large area of the country. Here to give you all the new information that we have from the overnight to the morning model runs. We'll cover the central U.S. first, and then the eastern U.S. next. Then we'll have a segment where we just kind of nerd out with you guys a little bit and really explain what's changed, why it's changed, and all that. And then stay tuned for the very end if you're interested. The pattern remains favorable for winter storm chances across areas of the country, including the South. My name is Mitch. Good Thursday morning. I hope you guys are doing awesome out there and have had a wonderful week so far. Subscribe if you haven't, like the video if you like it, and more importantly, if you guys have anything that I can pray about or pray over, please put it in the comments below. Let's get rocking and rolling this morning. A lot to go over, a lot to cover. Central U.S. first, let's go over watches and warnings. If you live in this blue area, the teal color in your county or parish is under that, you have a winter storm watch. If you live in the pink area, that's where it's been upgraded to a winter storm warning. And I expect a lot more winter storm warnings to be issued for these areas that have watches throughout the next several hours. In fact, by the time some of you folks watch this video, you'll see a lot more pink on this screen. But the entire state of Arkansas, winter storm watch, a good chunk of Louisiana, a large area of Texas, and just about every county in Oklahoma except the far western one. But a lot of areas included, the entire northern half of Mississippi, kind of a weird area right here where it looks like there might not, I wouldn't say they're not agreeing, but they just haven't communicated, I guess, in the same way. But there's kind of a gap here between the watches near Louisiana and Mississippi. But showing the northern areas too, we have winter storm watches that have been expanded northward all the way up to Kansas City now, but a good chunk of Kansas is included in this, and it's all the way up into St. Louis now. So with the precipitation that's trended north, of course, the winter storm watches have trended north with it. So that's all of that. Now let's go over all the model data that we have. Now the 06Z Euro, which is the current Euro we have, is running right now. Let's see if we have the completion of the storm with the current Euro run. So quick reminder, the blue is snow, the pink is freezing rain, any kind of orange you see is sleet. And we're going to start off with Friday afternoon, and that is what, tomorrow, next 36 hours. I mean, this system's right here in front of us. It's pretty wild. So let's get this in motion. All right, we start getting to Friday evening. We start to get into late Friday night, and we have a winter mess breaking out. The pink freezing rain, we got freezing rain breaking out across the Arklatex, southern areas of Oklahoma. It'll take some time for this cold air to work into areas of Texas. So you're probably going to start off as a little bit of rain at first in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We start to get into Saturday morning. This is really when the system, the heart of it, gets going. And a major winter storm begins to develop over Arkansas. Light, moderate snow. Snow is starting to spread across areas of Kansas, starting to get into Missouri, as far north as Nebraska and even Iowa, guys. But we continue to move this forward. And, we get into Saturday midday, and we got an all-out snowstorm for the northern half of Oklahoma. Even the panhandle of Texas, heavy snow getting all the way up in the southern areas of Kansas, starting to overspread into Springfield, Missouri. It's snowing in northern areas of Arkansas at this point, and then we continue to progress forward. And on this run of the Euro, the Euro just really likes more so a lot of freezing rain. Now, I will say on the northern fringe of this pink, that is probably more so sleet in my opinion. But anyways, the Euro doesn't really show sleet very well, never really has. But the northern sections of Arkansas, southern areas of Missouri, hanging on to very heavy snow for dear life here. And we got a raging ice storm down here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, even as far south as Shreveport. Little Rock getting freezing rain, Memphis getting freezing rain, and we continue to move this forward. More cold air begins to work in at this point. It looks like on this run, northwest Arkansas hangs on to snow, but then you switch to some heavy snow on the back end of this as far south as Oklahoma City, and the corridor of snow does get pretty far north into central Missouri. And we continue to move this forward. I mean, that's all ice, all freezing rain in Memphis to Little Rock to Shreveport. And then at the very end of the run, we get into Sunday afternoon, and the system begins to clear out, and then we are done. So cool. We did have the completion of the run. Now, what about the GFS? What does it show? All right, so we start off same thing. Friday afternoon, everything's just a little bit further south, and we start to get into Saturday morning. All-out winter storm breaking out. GFS shows sleet more. It might not be correct on where it's showing sleet, but at least it shows the idea that there will be sleet, and that is indicated in the orange you see on your screen. The blue is snow. Pink is freezing rain, so we kind of have a mixture of sleet and freezing rain down to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we progress this forward, and we start getting to Saturday afternoon, and it brings the ice and stuff further south into Louisiana, and it's just a sleet storm on the GFS, say in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's snowing in Oklahoma City, the northern areas of Arkansas, points north. It's a sleet storm in Little Rock, basically the Dallas-Fort Worth area to Little Rock, almost down to Shreveport, all the way into Memphis and surrounding areas. A lot of sleet. And then here comes the secondary boost of moisture. It's a long duration event, guys, not just a 12-hour event. And it just blossoms everything once again. And man, this is Sunday morning. Look how heavy the snow is in Oklahoma City. And look, it has frozen precipitation very far south. And just remember, the Euro doesn't really have as much winter weather to the south. So I think that, in my opinion, the National Weather Service is really buying, I would say they're tipping their cap more to the GFS. That's just my opinion. They think it's going to be a little bit colder, maybe even a little bit more of a suppressed storm track, or at least just colder, at least for the central U.S. But you continue to move forward, and this is Sunday, and it's still raging forward, guys. This storm is still going, and it really takes all the way into late Sunday night before this fully clears. So let's go over some snowfall graphics. All right, this is the Euro from overnight, and we actually might have the new Euro. So I'm probably going to do some back and forth with some of these model runs, because I do just want to get you updated information. But heck, this doesn't even show the completion of the run, so that kind of stinks. So unfortunately, guys, we're probably just going to have to keep it at the OOZ run because it hasn't finished running yet. But this is the OOZ Euro run. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, this is the OOZ Euro run here, and it drops 1.5 feet of snow in northern areas of Arkansas, southern areas of Missouri, a lot of snow in the northern half of Oklahoma, and it has this thin area of over 1 foot of snow, 10 to 12 inches, through Amarillo. And then there's a sharp cutoff down here in the southern areas of Arkansas, areas of Texas, and then you just kind of get into the snow down here. Now, I know I'm leaving you hanging up to the north. I'm going to show you guys here in a second. This is the 06 ZGFS, has the snow axis a little bit further south, which kind of follows more so what the National Weather Service is showing. But it really wants to drop over 1 foot totals as far south as Oklahoma City, and it's kind of right in the battleground on Little Rock. Gives 3 to 4 inches of snow and sleet into the Memphis area, and it drops a couple inches of snow as far south as the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Now, this is the majority of this is snow. This is probably sleet, freezing rain. Man, for example, look at Memphis here. 3 to 4 inches of snow. You get up the road to Dyersburg, Tennessee. I think that's what it's called, over 1 foot. It's not a forecast necessarily, but I really think there's going to be a very sharp gradient with the snow. Now, moving a little bit further up the road and looking at the snowfall, same thing. How beefed up are these totals going to be up into Missouri, Kansas, things like that? I put my cursor over the Kansas City area, and that's 10, 11 inches of snow. And it looks like it shows a lot more snow in the Kansas, just state of Missouri area than say what the GFS shows. And you look at the GFS and you're going to see how it dips southward. But there's still, if you look at this, there's still a lot of snow. This kind of weird right there. So you compare this with this, and there's just a sharper cutoff, but it still brings a lot of snow up into Kansas City, St. Louis. But there is an area right here, kind of where you got southern Missouri, you got northern areas of Arkansas, you got Oklahoma and Kansas kind of come together. That's kind of the jackpot area of snow, it almost looks like. So as far as ice, this is the Fram. This is one of the best things you can look at here. And it really hits northern areas of Louisiana, southern areas of Arkansas, northern areas of Mississippi, northeast Texas, and southeast Oklahoma. With, if I put my cursor over here, this is over 1/2 inch of freezing rain. This is going to be, I think, where we're the kind of one of the worst ice storm areas will be. There'll be a secondary area in the Carolinas too. But man, their confidence is high for over 1/2 inch of freezing rain in some of these areas. Anything over 1/4 inch, guys, that's when you start to have issues. When you get over 1/2 inch of freezing rain, that's when you really start to break these tree limbs into the power lines and start to lose power. And we don't want none of that to happen. But there's going to be a massive ice storm area with this. No doubt about it. And then there's going to be a corridor of sleet too. I don't think we're going to get 5 to 6 inches of sleet, but the GFS has the right idea that there will be sleet. It's just, where is the accumulating sleet corridor going to set up? And that is like impossible to figure out until we just have the start of the event, unfortunately. So I do want to go back and look at this really quick. And I want to do this on the fly, but I'm going to do it right here. Let's compare the 06Z Euro, because the Euro has been a very warm outlier. Now, I'm not saying the Euro is going to be wrong, but it has been very warm. So let's compare the 06Z Euro with the 00Z Euro. See if there's been a change here. Not really. Let's look at that ice rain line, kind of focus our eyes on that. It almost looks like, if you almost point it to the screen like you could see my finger, if you kind of look right here, yeah, it honestly doesn't look a whole lot different to me. So I'm just trying to see if there's a trend here, but it almost looks like it's, well, if you look in Tennessee here, look right here in Tennessee, in kind of the northern areas. And I know that you're like, dude, why are you hyper-focusing on this? Because it makes all the difference. It really does. So look at the northern counties here in western Tennessee and watch how I go from the 00Z for Saturday evening to the 06Z. You see how you have more snow introduced into the area? Those are the little things that can destroy a forecast, guys. But you look at the National Weather Service forecast, and once again, it only goes out to Saturday evening. So it's still snowing, still sleeting, still freezing rain. And this is how much snow they're calling for in this area right now. They'll have a couple inches as far south as the Dallas-Fort Worth area. This includes sleet probably. But I mean, already over a half a foot of snow by Saturday evening in areas of Arkansas, and I mean, Kansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma look to be highlighted states in the central U.S. portion of this storm. And then you look at the freezing, you look at the freezing rain here. And actually, we can extend this further out. So let's go back to the snow. Because updated graphics here. So it extends out to Sunday morning now. So you can see, I mean, listen, to me, this tells me that they're not buying the Euro as much, because the Euro has no accumulating snow or sleet whatsoever in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And the National Weather Service says, hey, we're going to get probably about 2 inches. So that's just something to note. And I don't want to get overly hung up on the details here, but it's something to watch out for. But this now goes out to Sunday morning, and we can look at the ice now here too. And goodness, I mean, they are going for, let's go on and just take a closer look at this. They are going for ridiculous ice totals in Louisiana. Come on, where is Louisiana? I mean, over 0.3 of an inch of freezing rain in northern Louisiana, over an inch in western areas of Mississippi. I mean, that is I don't want to use the word catastrophic, but I mean, that is a damaging ice storm. Someone's going to get sleet on the northern end of this. So, yeah, and then the cold temperatures to follow. These are predicted low temperatures Sunday morning, single digits deep into Texas. And then this is Monday morning. We got sub-zero degree temperatures dipping all the way down into areas of Arkansas and even northern areas of Texas. So bitterly cold temperatures, another cold morning Tuesday morning. So, yeah. All right, let's go over the eastern U.S. If you're just tuning in, let's go over watches and warnings and stuff first. So we have winter storm watches up, and let's update this graphic, make sure nothing's changed, and it really hasn't. So this is the southern tier of the storm for the eastern U.S. Winter storm watches continue for the northern areas of Alabama, northern and northeast areas of Georgia. We did have an expansion a little bit south in the Midlands of South Carolina. I think they're still waiting on how their confidence is going to be kind of in this area right in here. But we could get an expansion south of these watches into this region. But right now, Atlanta, Birmingham, Columbia, Augusta, you guys currently do not have winter storm watches right now. And I no doubt about it, I think you're going to have some kind of winter weather alerts. I live here in Columbia. Yeah, we'll see. Then a huge swath of winter storm watches. Let's update this, see if there's been any changes. No. So the teal color, those are winter storm watches that will later be upgraded to winter storm warnings or winter weather advisories. And then winter storm watches have now extended all the way up into the southern tier of New York, the entire mid-Atlantic, and you can see North Carolina just about covered with them. So let's go over all the new information. Let's speak on the Euro. Remember, the blue is snow. Any kind of orange you see, that's sleet. The pink is freezing rain. So we start off Saturday afternoon, midday, timestamp up here, but you can look right here. This is in Eastern time. I know it's kind of small on your screen. But let's move forward. So we start to move into Saturday evening. Okay, latest Euro has a major winter storm breaking out across Tennessee. Ice totals are showing up, freezing rain event for Mississippi. We already talked about that area. And we continue to move forward. And then we get into the middle of the night. This is the middle of the night, Saturday night into Sunday. Okay, like midnight, 1 a.m. We got heavy snow breaking out across northern areas of Oklahoma, southern areas, basically the southern areas of the Midwest and the Ohio Valley. Heavy snow moving into West Virginia to the south. You have freezing rain breaking out across Tennessee with a warm nose starting to extend all the way into the Cumberland Plateau. Now you see this kind of weird dip in the pink right here. This is because of cold air damming. A lot of cold air getting thrown down east of the mountains. So this kind of keeps us colder over here. But the pink is freezing rain. Freezing rain is beginning to fall across the Carolinas. And we take one more panel here. And it doesn't start off as any sleet and snow on the Euro. I still think it's too amped up. But it's just a major ice storm across the Carolinas and northern and northeast Georgia. And it's actually switching this freezing rain to rain in areas of southern Tennessee. And this is a major snowstorm on top with a lot of freezing rain surging in. Now, I want to stop it right here. And let's look at the OOZ run. Because I want to say that the Euro has been a warm outlier for a while now. But is it right? It absolutely could be. But let's compare it to this run. Okay, what does it show compared to the 06Z? And if you, all right, let's look at this. Yeah, so I want you to put your eyes on the ice line down here in Georgia and South Carolina. And what I want you to really focus in on is how the moisture, if it shifts south, and if the ice shifts south with it. So let's look. You can see how the moisture shifts south. All right. And you can see how the pink shifts ever so slightly to the south. Okay? Same thing with the freezing rain and snow line. And I know you're thinking, Mitch, why are you hyper-focusing in on this? It means everything. When you're trying to forecast snow, sleet, freezing rain, these little micro ticks are everything this close to the actual storm starting. So this is the overnight Euro. Look at that ice snow line right here in Virginia. Put your eyes on that. And then you look at the current run. You see how there's a tick south. Those trends, those ticks are everything. So I'm getting hung up on it, but what I'm saying is with this current run, there is a tick colder, a tick of a more suppressive look. Now, if you continue to run here, it's staying freezing rain for longer as far south as Columbia. It's just a destructive ice storm across areas of the Carolinas into areas of Georgia. It's still warm nosing areas of Tennessee. I just think that this is wrong. I mean, I could be wrong. But you continue to move forward here, and it still wants to plow a low pressure right up the spine of the Alps. But let's not get too hung up to the folks to the south because we have a major snowstorm and ice storm breaking out across the mid-Atlantic. This is Sunday afternoon, and we continue to move forward here, and it still switches, snow to freezing rain all the way up to the mid-Atlantic into New York City, and it plows a low pressure right through the Carolinas. So is that correct? Could be. This is 10 p.m. Sunday night, major snowstorm and ice storm, just a winter storm breaking out across the Northeast. So what's going to happen here? And I once again, I'll kind of stop it right here. And we look at the OOZ. And once again, did you see that shift? You see that shift here? This is the overnight run. This is the 06Z run. There is a shift south, therefore a colder look, something to watch. Yeah. GFS has trended north. So is the Euro and the GFS going to kind of compromise here, kind of meet in the middle? This happens a lot with model guidance. So you start off Saturday midday. Got way too hung up on the Euro there. All right, you got snow and sleet breaking out across Tennessee. All right, you got freezing rain already starting to bubble up here across the Midlands of South Carolina. Then boom, we get into Saturday evening. And it's an all-out winter storm breaking out across most of the Carolinas, northern Georgia. It's freezing rain across northern areas of Alabama. Points north, it's sleet and snow. Heavy snow across the northern counties of Tennessee, Kentucky, starting to get into the Ohio Valley. Folks, I am going to forget to mention states. I have a lot of information coming to me at one time, and it's tough to just bring it all together. But we get into Saturday night, Sunday, and this is a major winter storm breaking out across areas of the southeast all the way down to Atlanta. A major winter storm breaking out across the mid-Atlantic. I think I already just said that. It's a huge push of ice, freezing rain due to a warm nose, surging up into central or middle to, is what y'all call it, eastern Tennessee. And then an ice storm develops as far south as Augusta, Atlanta, Georgia. We got a sleet storm in Charlotte to Raleigh, all across the Piedmont and the Triad of North Carolina, up into the mid-Atlantic. This is a snowstorm into D.C., and it continues, and then we get a back-end push of moisture behind all this. But look at this major snowstorm breaking out across the Northeast, and then we're done. So I think we can now switch this to the 06Z and look at the snow total. So I'm going to have to reload all this. And this is the snow totals on the 06Z. You run on the Euro, and it has that swath of heavy snowfall slashing through areas of the southern Midwest, through the Ohio Valley, through Kentucky. Has this area of a foot and some change of snow. Now, do we have a southern push of this snow line? I mean, I can guarantee you, I want you to kind of look at your, I want you to focus here on Nashville. It shows 1.1 inches of snow on this run. What does it show on the OOZ run from overnight? I don't know. Let's see. 0.9. I mean, so it's a little improvement if you're a snow weather fan, but you look at those little small scale ticks, okay? And then you look at the GFS as far as snowfall totals. It has things much further south. It wants to bring over a foot of snow and sleet. This is kind of snow and sleet. Just remember that down to Nashville. But not to get hung up on Nashville, it really hits the entire state of Kentucky with just 1 to 2 feet of snow and sleet. I think that's a little overdone. But there's going to be a swath of over a foot of snow and sleet. No doubt about it. But I mean, look how much snow it brings up into Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, West Virginia gets crushed. But you also want to watch for the southern areas of West Virginia for a warm nose, if anything like the Euro is correct. Now, you look a little bit further to the east. This is how much snow it shows. You can see that sharp cutoff on the Euro here, but once again, we need to switch it to the 06Z, go back through all this again, and yeah, so a little bit of a southern extent to the snow now. But DC, you're going to get snow, but does it stay snow? So this will be a huge ice to snow battle up into this area, I think, and then you get up into the Northeast and just a lot. I hope you know where you are on the map, because it's hard for me to say out loud every single name, every single state, every single area. But this is the Euro for a huge, large area. And then this is the GFS. You're going to notice there's a southern component to it. Brings accumulating snow and sleet as far south as the northern counties of North Carolina. But it brings more of a high-impact snow and sleet event across Virginia, but it still crushes the areas in the upper Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. And then we look at the rest of the Northeast. And remember, some of this is combining some lake effect stuff, yeah, a lot of stuff here, a lot of snow. This is mainly snow. And this is actually let's look at the latest run. Still a huge hit. Still a huge hit even on the current run of the Euro for a lot of snow in this area. And then we look at the GFS. This is what it's showing. A little bit more suppressed once it gets up into New England, but still a huge hit with 1 to 2 feet of snow across this area. This is, everybody's so focused on the South, but I'm trying to show some attention to the Northeast, because it's hard to not hyper-focusing on the South with these winter weather events, because it causes more impacts to us down here. But showing some love to the Northeast too. And then freezing rain. This is the Fram here. This will be a huge area right here of what are we going to get? Is this going to be a warm nose? You can quite literally see the warm nose on this run here. So, how much, I think Nashville's a huge area. Like, are we going to see a huge ice storm in Nashville? Are we going to see a huge snowstorm, something in between? But you can see the extent of the ice. Hopefully my face ain't in the way, into Georgia here. Is Atlanta going to get 1/10 of an inch of ice, or are they going to get a crippling ice storm? I think the same thing runs kind of into Columbia. I think Atlanta to Columbia to like Fayetteville is kind of an area, a corridor, where you're right on the fringe of a huge ice storm. I think the Greenville, Spartanburg to Charlotte area, I think it's going to get an ice storm, but are you going to mix with more sleet? It's a big dilemma here. It's huge. And then just looking a little bit further to the east, Here is where the corridor, this is kind of the secondary maximum, if you will, of sleet. But you do have a signal, I'm sorry, of freezing rain, but you do have a signal of freezing rain all the way up into the Delmarva, things like that. And once again, just like I've been saying, there's going to be a corridor of sleet. Where is it going to set up? And I think there'll be a secondary maximum with this too. The first one kind of being back here, the second one being across areas of the Carolinas up into Virginia. Does this shift south? Does it shift north? That's something we have to figure out here. And I just want to look at something here. This is the latest freezing rain graphic for the Euro. And let's kind of focus in on here on the Carolinas. And this is the 06Z run. This is the OOZ run. So if you look at the OOZ run, I want you to watch how that freezing rain shifts to the south a little bit. You see how there was a south push? I mean, it goes from like in Atlanta to 1/10 of an inch of freezing rain to 6/10 of an inch of freezing rain. I mean, this is something that we need to watch, because I think models are going to underdo cold air damming, which is a totally different thing for us in the eastern U.S. It's a totally different battle to figure out. And this is the latest National Weather Service forecast, which extends all the way out to Sunday morning. And the thing about this is that kind of trips me out is I'm going to look at the southeast first. Well, let's look at the Carolinas, and this does include areas of Tennessee. It's trying to say that 4/10 of an inch of snow and sleet are going to go as far south as Columbia. To me, that tells me that they're not buying the Euro. I really don't think they are, because if they were buying the Euro, they wouldn't put accumulating snow and sleet as far south as the Greenville-Spartanburg area, Charlotte, northern areas of North Carolina. They even have a touch of sleet snow accumulation. I think it's mainly sleet as far south as Columbia. So that's just something to watch for. Now, remember, this only goes out to Sunday morning. This event is you're right in the heart of this event. So if you do look at the Mid-Atlantic, they're already going for huge amounts across this area. 8 to 12 inches of snow. And then you look at the freezing rain totals, and we'll have to bog it back down to the south. And just through Sunday morning, they're going for 2/10 of an inch of freezing rain in Columbia, 3/10 into Charlotte, and 3 to 4/10 in the Greenville-Spartanburg area, and crippling ice in the southwest North Carolina mountains and in the northern Georgia, big icing totals. And, just taking a closer look here at the southern Alps, and they're going for big ice totals in northern Alabama. Man, that's crazy. But look at these. Yeah, just a lot. Mentioning the temperatures with this, these are low temperatures Sunday, Saturday night and a Sunday morning, when the precipitation is moving in. You got 25 all the way down to Columbia. But anyways, and you can see the cold air damming east of the mountains, colder air moving in. And then we start to move into low temperatures Monday morning, and then this is Tuesday morning. This is where whoever has snow or sleet pack on the ground will get into the single digits, even for areas of the south. It's 13 in Columbia, 9 in the Huntsville area, 8 in Charlotte. Will break record lows probably. And everything begins to modify a little bit after that, but you can see there's some disagreements here across the area. Now, I'll kind of sum up the nerding out part of this pretty much quicker than I've been doing here. What's going on and why this thing is amped up so much, especially for the eastern U.S., and we can still have trends the other way, is because what's happened here is this area of energy right here. Let's make that a little bit bigger. This area of energy right here and this Baja low right here are trying to phase, at least partially phase. So you'll see this kind of scoot this way and this kind of scoot down here, and they'll kind of connect. So you'll get this in motion, and there's kind of an absorbing of it, if you will, a phasing of these northern stream energy and then the Baja low. And when this happens, this turns into a stronger storm system, pops off a surface low, and this low pressure ejects off the base of this trough. And when that happens, it kind of nukes the surface and the temperatures aloft in the upper levels with a lot of warm air. So it creates a scenario where we've had that warmer trend across the eastern U.S., but there's been some ticks in the other direction. So you can see this is still somewhat of it's definitely a positive tilt to trough, but there's enough phasing here to really affect the temperatures. And another way to look at this is look at the actual energy dropping down the pipeline here. And you're going to see the energy here, and you're going to see how they kind of come together right there and kind of connect and then turn into a stronger system. So because of that, our temperatures, start to rise in these areas, and we start to get into Sunday, into the meat of our system, and you'll see that warm nose creeping up. So you might wonder, why is temperatures rising so much in Mississippi and Alabama here? That is because the phasing of that energy pops off a low pressure, and this is still, there's a little bit of a colder. You see that colder tick there? I'm telling you, something's ticking colder. Watch how it goes from 30, it's not much, to 29 in Columbia. That makes all the difference. I know I'm getting hung up on the nitty-gritty details, but it makes all the difference here. But you can see the warm nose creeping into the picture, okay, and that is because of a developing surface low. And it still wants to rise the temperatures to 63 degrees as basically a warm sector surges through this area. And I still think this is wrong. I think we'll have adjustments here. So that developing low pressure due to phasing of energy causes a low pressure to develop and then shoot through this area, kind of really significantly warming up a lot of areas. So I do want to mention, and I'm going to only spend about 2 or 3 minutes on this. I'm going to fly through this information. I'm already watching next week, and I don't want to get too hung up on the details here, but I think it needs to be mentioned. Next Friday, almost all model guidance is locked into a time frame of interest. And believe it or not, before this winter storm that's right in front of us popped up on our radar, this was always the time frame of interest. But it's now reemerging on our radar here, if you will. So this is the Euro. The Euro actually brings a good old southern snowstorm Friday into Saturday next weekend across the southeast. Not a forecast. Good gracious, it's not a forecast, guys. Please. And it is just a wild evolution here. The GFS is very close. It brings snow all the way almost to the Gulf coastline, and it almost snows in Florida. So it's very close on the GFS too. And then the Canadian is a whopper of a winter storm for the southeast. Has an ice storm as far south as Florida, and then that climbs up the coastline. So I don't want to get too hung up on this too much, but the GFSAI shows energy down here too. It's just so cold that the energy is suppressed into the Gulf. But there's something there. And then let's look at I don't even know what the Euro AI is going to show because I haven't looked at it. But what does it show? There's energy there. Cold air in place. There's something hanging out down here. Is it going to pop off? You have to watch. And you look at the Euro ensemble, and this is in 2-day increments. It's going to show that signal pop up right there. And then it disappears. So there's something there. And that's something we need to watch. And this look right here with the extension of this lower heights to me, and then you got all this blocking up here. And then the positive PNA ridging all the way up into Alaska, negative EPO. I mean, if you whiff on this, I don't know what to say. But this is a legit time frame, the last couple days of January, to really, really watch for the South. I mean, I would argue that this is a fantastic looking pattern. But then again, we said the same thing. Well, not really. We always said that there was a great pattern coming up for winter weather the last several days of January. But it is really showing up here inside day 10, but that's pretty far out. That's all I got. I do want to do a quick Bible devotion with you guys real quick, and I can already hear my kids on the other side of the door. Think I'm going to get them late to school, but I'm not. But Psalm 27, verse 1 through 3 says, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom should I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Whom should I dread? When evildoers came against me to devour my flesh, my foes and my enemies stumbled and fell. Though an army deploys against me, my heart will not be afraid. Though a war breaks out against me, I will still be confident." I just put, God is your strength, fight fear, but by fixing your eyes on Jesus. Find reliance on God's strength, not your own. So, we all should know that, but it's tough in the moment when the stresses of life and people are going against us. But the battle's won, guys. We just have to believe that and have faith in that. I mean, while we're here on this earth, I mean, we're gonna fight battles like crazy. But we can't just rely on our own strength to get through it. And we have to go to God. And I've said this many times. I know I always recycle the same information here, but I think it goes, I think it's healthy recycling of information. Have some quiet time with you and the Lord. Really talk to Him. And I'm telling you, you're going to feel better. So that's all I got. Thank y'all for tuning in. God bless all y'all. Have a wonderful day, and we'll do it again tonight.